Thank you, Utkarsh, for such a wonderful introduction and a very good evening to all the participants. So nice to see many of our existing participants of different programs and many aspiring participants as well. I would like to know from you in the chat how many of you are already trainers. Just write trainer in the chat box if you're already training. Preethu is a trainer, of course. Hi, Preethu. Nice to see you here. Devika is a trainer. Thank you. Prachi completed HRG. Welcome, Prachi. All right. So today's webinar, friends, is a very interesting topic on measuring training effectiveness. It's a very apt for all the trainers who are joined us, and also it's extremely important for all the HR professionals because all HR professionals are involved in training and development and also has a role in measuring the effectiveness of any training intervention. So I think it's a good time. So we have good 1 hour with us, and we will make a good use of this time that we are together. I will keep some time at the end for question and answers. However, in between, if you have any questions, reflections, or thoughts, I would encourage you to use the hand raise button on your screen in the reaction side, and we can take your questions, and that way we can be more productive over the next 1 hour. Is it okay for everyone? So let me begin by asking a simple question. What is training effectiveness? You can unmute, raise your hand, use the chat box as you feel. I would also encourage you to keep your videos on so that the session becomes more engaging and interactive. So what is training effectiveness in your own language? Yes, Ilana, over to you.
Sir, I think no, training effectiveness means the training that we give to our employee, is it really affecting them in a positive way, or we are getting the results that we want through the training that we are providing them, and know the effectiveness, how it is affecting the company, their performance. These are the things.
Very good. So one of the key points that I'm taking from Ilana is the training successful for the results that we are looking for? That's what she said. Thank you, Ilana, for sharing your thoughts. Swapnil, over to you.
Sir, good evening, sir. I have the same thought which Elena has expressed. It is basically training effectiveness to measure whether the employee has understood the training or he has implemented in his practical, the practical day-to-day practical things.
Right.
So that is what training effectiveness, and
All right.
it also helps to achieve the organization goal or not.
It helps to achieve the organization goal or not. Okay. Yes, Usha, over to you. Thanks for sharing, Swapnil.
Yeah, so training effectiveness is, from my perspective, a very important aspect of training. So there are so many times we train and then, we do not have enough tools or we don't go back to judge, like as everybody said, whether the, content has been registered. Does the, person, trainee know how to implement that? And is your training successful first and foremost? And then is he making success out of the training? That's my thought.
Very good. And how will you know it is successful or not?
So when we do the training, then there are, assessments, feedback coaching sessions, scenario-based sessions to understand, and performance once he or she goes into the flow. Like there's the OJT concept and the, normal performance. That's what I feel.
All right. All right. Thanks for sharing. I'll just take one or two more from Prachi and Kanchana. Prachi, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, according to me, training effectiveness is something which we measure what is expected and what the outcome is. So that is what we measure while understanding or doing the training effectiveness. Thank you.
Very good. So what is expected and what is the outcome is what I'm hearing from you as a key message. I think same is from Preetu as well in the chat. Outcome of the training in terms of performance. Uh, Naneshwar is saying objective should be achieved. So whatever objective we have kept should be achieved. That's nice. Yashoda is saying it measures the trainee skills, knowledge, and performance. Rather, is saying impact of training and to what extent. That's a good perspective. I'll take the last comment from Kanchana and then we move on.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So, according to me, the main goal of training is to improve the learners to competence and capacity and performance. And training effectiveness is well how training supports learning and learning transfer to the learners. So, this is my point, sir.
Very good perspective, Kanchana. Thanks for sharing. Well, all of you are right. All of you are correct, but not complete. Many times we wrongly understand the meaning of training effectiveness. Let me ask this question slightly different. What many times we get confused between what is effectiveness and what is successful. Whenever we focus extraordinarily on output, on the objectives that has to be met, sometimes we lose the sight on effectiveness. Now, when we will say the training has been very effective and when we will say the training is successful. Any thoughts? Or forget training. When we will say someone is successful and when we will say someone is effective.
So,
Yes, Aishwarya, over to you.
Uh, so if the if the outcome is met,
Right.
if you're able to see the results immediately, then I would say it's successful. But if there is retention of learning and sustained application of that learning, then it's effective.
Very good. I think it's a very good perspective and thanks for sharing, Aishwarya. What she's saying is if you're able to see the result, if you're able to see the output, I would say the training is successful. And if I am able to see that the learning has been retained by the participant, I would say the training is effective. Well, that's a good perspective that she's sharing. Anyone else want to share? You know, when we say something is effective and when we say something is successful.
so sometime Rahul Satish this side. Very good
Hi,
evening.
Satish. Nice to see you.
Yeah. So what I believe that like the parameters generally in the professional words, what exactly we do, there are some parameters which are responsible to initiate the training actually, right? So when we are meeting the initiation factors, what I believe, which were basically responsible to initiate the training program. So we can say that, okay, these parameters have been met, so the training is successful. However, we need to understand after that training, what is the impact, right? So if we will look at the parameters are met, but there is no impact, right? On the business or on the person's personality, whatever the part of, then the training effectiveness will not be counted in that sense, what I believe. So two parts. One is mapping with the outcomes, the parameters, and the impact of that training, right? That impact will be considered as a effectiveness, what I believe.
Very good. Good perspective and thanks for sharing. Usha, I'll take your comments in a bit. Friends, problem with whenever we look at how successful a training program is, or whenever we start with success in mind, We want to make this intervention successful. We may want to make this project successful. We want to make this product successful. We want to make this individual successful. We generally narrow down the scope of our target. Right? It may mean more money. It may mean a better salary. It may mean promotion. It may mean more sales. It may mean more customers. Right? So whenever we start with success in mind, we narrow down the target. But when we look at effectiveness, we broaden the horizon. And that's the reason I always say effectiveness, because effectiveness is the capability to be successful. I would say something is effective if I have the capability to be successful. Now, I may or may not reach the success because success has its own definition. Because you will set a target. And let me explain this through an example. A company investing in a sales training program. By measuring the success, they discover that figures didn't show a significant increase in customer addition, so which means they could not increase sales. Will we say the training is successful? Because we will not say this. How many of you will say the training is successful? How many of you will say training is not successful? Say yes or no in the chat box. Well, most of us have the common consensus that training is not successful. Right? Now, this is the problem when we start the conversation or start looking at things from the lens of success. Because we started this training intervention with an objective that we need more customer additions. And hence that becomes, and Satish very clearly talked about impact versus parameters of measurement. Now, this was half the story, which I displayed on the screen. Let me put the other half. However, after the training, customer satisfaction scores skyrocketed. Training enhanced the customer experience, leading to repeat business and positive word of mouth. It led to revenue increase by repeat business and lower marketing spends because there was a significant increase in customers that were happening because of word of mouth. Now, will you say this training is successful or not? Yeah. So what changed, friends? And this is a very important example, and it's very pertinent in the training world. What changed between the two paragraphs? When they're saying it's effective. Yeah.
So I think it's about quantitative and qualitative approach.
Well, in the second paragraph, there is a quantitative approach as well because it actually increased the business. It didn't increase the business the way the company was thinking, but eventually it did. And that happens when we lay down the parameters of success very narrow at the start of any intervention. That is where, and we start focusing on what we define as success rather than thinking what is more effective. And that is what we are going to discuss over the next 40 odd minutes that we are together, that how do we measure the effectiveness, not necessarily the success, because if it is effective, eventually it will succeed, but success necessarily not mean effectiveness. Let me give an example. I may get promoted, but it not necessarily makes me a better manager. I may develop capabilities of becoming a better manager. Eventually, I have a very high probability of getting promoted. Now there is a difference. In both situations, I'm successful. But in the second situation, I'm effective as well. And if I'm focusing on to be more effective as a professional, success will eventually come. Because what I say, I generally believe that our life is the biggest bell curve. Our life is the biggest bell curve. Some people or some interventions or some project may see success initially, Some may have a delayed gratification, but in the long-term basis, the gratification more or less equalizes. Are you with me, friends? Are you with me so far? Yeah, give me a thumbs up if you're understanding what I'm explaining. Yeah. Let's move forward. And if you've understood what's the difference between being effective and successful, and same goes for training program, so what will you measure? Training, whether the training is successful or the training is effective. What should be the conversation? Effective or successful?
I think effective.
Training always it should be effectiveness, sir.
Effective. Absolutely. Training always have to be effective, not necessarily successful. And it has a high possibility of success. But once you start becoming effective, once I'm building capability in myself or my team, it may take different dimensions to succeed. And that is a power of building capabilities and building effectiveness, because it will figure out its way to succeed. It may not succeed in the direction in which we are expecting, but it will definitely succeed in some other form. Yeah. Now, on that note, friend, let us move ahead and look at what does training effectiveness actually mean. Training effectiveness actually mean that did training do what it was supposed to do? Did participants learn what they were supposed to learn? And were participants who attended training able to do what they should be able to do once they left the training room? Yeah. So was the training, did the training do what it was supposed to do? Did participants learn what they were supposed to learn? And were participants who attended the training were able to do what they should be able to do once they left the training room? Yeah. Now, on that note, let me bring you to another question. When should training effectiveness be actually measured? I'm not saying success. When should training effectiveness should actually be measured?
In couple of months.
In a couple of months, great.
So definitely there would be a time gap between the accomplishment of the training and the measuring the effectiveness.
Right.
However, but when we look at these 3 points which you have mentioned right now, the first 2 points, I believe, again, taking us towards the successful definition rather than more effectiveness. Unless I'm wrong, but I mean that is a bit confusing when we say that training effectiveness, what the person is, we want to train him, and he is getting that. That is basically a result of that mapping training output with some parameters, which is the definition of success.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing. Any other thoughts? Put in the chat box, when do you think training effectiveness should actually be measured? Feel free to put whatever you feel is right. There is no right or wrong answer. What you feel is right.
After completing the training session, sir.
After completing the training session, regular intervals, on the job training after 45 days. That's great inputs. Any other thoughts? We all are HR professionals. Write whatever you feel is right, because it's an open discussion. Friends, whatever we are doing after the training program, we are always looking from the lens of success. Very rarely we are looking from the lens of effectiveness. Our dimensions of success can change. And that's the reason I always say, if you want to, and this is my classical debate with many of my clients. Say, how do we ensure this training is successful? I ask the same question. You want this training to be successful, or you want this training to be effective? Yeah. And if you want this training to be effective, because success can have different dimensions, and I give this example which I just gave you at the beginning, because success can come from various form, and something it is beyond our imagination. And there is a very interesting quote by Steve Jobs which says, you can always join the dot going backwards. You can never join the dots going forward. What you're doing now, how it will result in future can be completely beyond your imagination. And when you look back, we say, okay, we did that training intervention, and hence possibly because this is happening. Because when he was growing up and he was in college, he learned calligraphy. He had no idea how calligraphy is going to be helpful as a capability that he's developing in his life. He never thought of using it commercially. When he launched Macintosh, he said, our fonts will be unique. People said, what's in the font? He said, everything is in the font. It will make us stand out. And for many years, Macintosh was actually selling because of the fonts they use. Now, when he was learning calligraphy, he never thought that how it will get used, right? But eventually it will get used. Now, same thing when we are thinking about training effectiveness, friends. I always say, first ensure, then assess. First, you have to ensure it is effective. Then only you can assess it whether it is effective or not. And that is the fundamental of training effectiveness. It is evaluated in two different blocks. One is called as formative evaluation, which is first you have to ensure the training is effective. And then you can assess whether the training was effective or not, which is called as summative evaluation. And we'll talk more about it over the next 35 minutes that we are together. So what's the golden words, friends? First ensure, then assess. Write in the chat box. First ensure, then assess. We go into assessment after the training is over. I think it is too late already. If your assessment is, or if your evaluation is starting after the training, evaluation has to start much before the training, because you are evaluating effectiveness, not success. If you want to evaluate success, yes, you have to do it after the training. But if you want to ensure the effectiveness, it has to start much earlier. So first ensure, then assess. Now so on that note, let us see what does first ensure actually mean, which is formative evaluation. And this one slide will sum it up. What do you mean by first you have to ensure? Ensure basically means right training with the right content at the right time, delivered by the right trainer with the right context of the problem that you are trying to solve, delivers the right outcome. That is ensuring means. Because what are you training people on? When are you training people on? What is the content on which you are training? Who is the trainer? Does he have the right context of training, which happens much, much prior to the training delivery? Because after the training, all this is already over. You can't change it. Can't change it. The training has been delivered. Now you can only measure the success. So you have to first ensure the effectiveness, then assess the effect. Are you with me, friends? Are you understanding what I'm explaining? Yeah. So this is much, much earlier. Now let's look at the 3 P's of formative evaluation, which is first ensure. The 3 P's. We as management are used to P's, P's of marketing, P's of communication. So this is the P's of ensuring effectiveness of a training program. What are the 3 P's of first ensure? The plan, the process, and the product. And here the product is the training program itself. You have to do the right planning, have the right process, and have the right product, which is the right training program. Let's look at each one of them. What are the 3 P's, friends? Use the chat box. Plan, process, and product. What are the 3 P's of formative evaluation? Plan, process, and product. Write it down. Absolutely. Plan, process, and product. And what is a product? Product is the training program itself. Let's look at the plan. if you have to have the effective training program, first plan. What is the course objective? What is the training objective? And uh, and we put immense emphasis when we are doing the corporate trainer and facilitator certification is the need analysis. Do you have the right course objective? Because there are three possibilities. When you are, what are the three possibilities? Let me explain. First possibility, you have identified the objectives correctly. Second, which means you're sure on the objectives. Second possibility, you're not sure on the objective. And the third possibility, which is most dangerous, you are sure of the objective, but those are wrong. And I always give this classic example. I was talking to one client once, and he said, I said, what training you want? He said, stress management for my sales teams. I said, why? They said, no, they're not able to handle pressure. The question was why there is a pressure. There could be a pressure only because of two reasons. Either the product is bad or the manager is bad. If you have a great product and a great manager, why there should be a pressure? And they understood it. And later on, they actually changed this training program for being effective managers for managers rather than managing pressure for the sales team. And that's the reason I said there are three possibilities. You are sure about the objective, you're not sure of the objective, and the third is you're sure of the objective, but the objective is wrong. So when in the plan, you should have the right training objective or the course objective. Second, appropriate selection of participants who should be attended. Like the case example I discussed, the objective was wrong and the participants were wrong. No matter how great training you deliver, your results are not going to be any different than what they are today. Isn't it? Yeah. The right time frame. People say, we want to do this training, but let me tell you, Rahul, we can't spare more than 3 hours. We're very busy people. I say, good luck. Because you need to have the right time frame for each intervention and the right teaching methods. So that's the plan. Are you with me, friends? Any questions on the plan? And wherever you have questions, feel free to use the chat box or raise hand. The hand raise is better so that I don't miss it. Then coming to the process. Process means planning, the training program, appropriate and effective use of time, how much time you have for the intervention and how you are going to use it. It is both for the trainer as well as for the organization. Many a times organization underestimate the planning part and the process part. And Dr. Aparna in her sessions always talk about this, which is the training climate. You need to have the right plan and the right process. Otherwise, no matter how great training you are delivering, it will have suboptimal impact. And the third, impacting training according to the set objectives. Are you on course of what you actually want to deliver training or what you actually want to train people on? So the plan, the process, and what was the third one? Plan, process, and
Product.
the product, which is the product, the training itself. And to me, there are three cornerstones of a great training: the trainer, the content, and the context. That combinedly make a great training session. And either you are HR professionals or you are trainers, you have to be absolutely clear, who is the best person to deliver this training program. It will be outside the organization, it will be inside the organization. The right content and the right context. Now, I have seen many trainers spend a lot of time when it comes to the content. In fact, sometimes I get messages in our trainers group. Can someone send the content for this training program? I said, it is just one part of it. And we spend a lot of time building the right content. But if you miss the context, If any one of these three is missed, and in many cases we miss the context. As an organization, also you have to ensure that the trainer has understood your context. And as a trainer, you have to ensure that you have understood the context from the organization and you are on the same page. In all the proposals that I send to the organization we deal with, I always add my first slide is the context slide. Because I want my clients to read that first. These are the training objective and this is the context. If we are on the same page on the context, then this is the outline. My outline of the program actually comes after the context. And, that I've seen has been immensely useful because many a times our organization come back and say, I think there is something missing in the context. We also want to add this, which is very useful for whom? Both trainer as well as for the participants. Are you with me, friends? Yeah. So this is about first ensure. Is everyone clear on what you have to ensure? You have to ensure the plan, you have to ensure the process, and you have to ensure the product to make the training effective. Then only you can measure the effectiveness. Is it clear? Now, how do you measure it? Measurement is again done against what was agreed. What was the plan agreed and did we follow the plan? What was the process agreed? Did we follow the process? How was the product? Which means what was the content agreed and what was the context agreed? Did we follow it? So which is what was decided and what has been implemented is a measurement of first ensure. Clear so far?
So
We'll move ahead.
Sir,
Yes.
there is a question by Sunana Prachi and Anirudh, like they want you to explain the difference between content versus context.
Okay. So let me just check if Dr. Aparna has already joined because she's in the best position to give this explanation. She explains it really well. Dr. Aparna, would you like to come and explain the difference between content and context?
Very good evening, everyone. So yes, this is one of my favorite topics, I will say, content versus context, right? I tell this to everyone that content is the model, the theory, the concept. For example, if you consider emotional intelligence, Rahul, if you can stop sharing the screen, right? So if you look at emotional intelligence, the model is Daniel Goleman's 5-factor model, right? That is a content. But every training we need to make it relevant to the participants. For example, if I have to deliver this training, emotional intelligence for teenagers, self-awareness, it's the same thing, but context will change. Let me know if you're following, right? If I have to give social skills for teenagers, it is different. For mid-age level, it will be different. Women who are at home will be different. Vice presidents of the company, it is different. Correct me if I'm wrong. Social skills the same. Let's talk about empathy, right? Empathy, it's the same. Please understand the concept remains same. What changes is the context. Let me give you one more last example. If you consider our post training, definition of sexual harassment remains same. Yes or no, Swapnil, Usha, right? It remains same. But now if I'm delivering this training to the college students, I need to make it relevant because their life is different. Their way of thinking is different. For them, their values are different. I'm giving posh training, same sexual harassment to the leaders, in the manufacturing setup. I need to make it relevant, everyone. Relevant. You cannot deliver a training if you don't make it relevant. And I always say, the person who develops the context around content will be super successful trainer. I hope you got it, right? So there are a lot of things, Prachi. You are absolutely right. According to the audience, right? Everything will change. But the model, the theory, the concept remains same. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Ram.
Thank you, Prachi, for asking, and thanks, Dr. Aparna, for sharing your thoughts. So what we started with is first ensure, then assess. Now we have seen the ensure part of it, which is three P's: plan, the process, and the product. Now we look at assess. Now, friends, there are various assessment tools and models that are available, uh, which are done post the training program, which is also summative evaluation. The most popular are Kirkpatrick model, which we also cover in our corporate trainer and facilitator certification. There is a Phillips model that's also covered. Uh, Today, what I'm going to discuss with you is another model, which is Hamlin's model, which is an extension of Kirkpatrick model itself. This is this also suggests measuring any effectiveness of a training program at 5 levels. Hamlin's model, which is also called as a 5-level evaluation of any training program, which happens after the training is completed, can be done at 5 level, which is measuring the reaction, which is called as a reaction level. It measures the reaction of trainees to the content and methods of training and not the trainer. And this is one area where many organizations and even many trainers miss it. They look at it as a measurement of a trainer rather than measurement of training. It is not trainer's evaluation, it is training's evaluation. Trainer is just one part of the entire training. Yeah. So reaction level, all good evaluation methods will suggest that don't evaluate the trainer. You can do that separately, but evaluate the training. Then there's a learning level. Learning level talks about have the participant collectively gathered the information and learned what they were intended to learn in the program. The third level is a job behavior level, which is whatever the participant have learned, were they able to adjust and modify and improve their behavior in the work environment. Fourth is whatever is the change in behavior or skills that the participants have demonstrated, has it shown a significant improvement in the department's performance? Fifth is called as the ultimate level. Has it impacted the ultimate business objective with which the training was conducted? Now, this is one of the models which evaluates the effectiveness of a training programs in terms of reaction, learning, behavioral changes in the job, impact on a particular function, and impact on the business overall. And different organization, and depending on the intervention, the measurement is done. Uh, Unfortunately, we will not have enough time today to get deeper into these models, but in our program, which is more uh, elaborate, which runs over 4 days for corporate trainers, we go deeper into some of these models and also show how do we really go ahead and measure it. Yeah, but this will give you a good overview of what are the 5 levels in which the evaluation or the assessment of any training can be done from the effectiveness perspective. Yeah. Any questions here before I move ahead to a very interesting part of what we have to discuss today?
So, Rahul, these pointers that we are talking about, every point will have certain timeline, right? That the
Absolutely.
first.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
is there anything that timeline that we decide, or we, leave it to the corporate to decide, or the
Well,
client to
there is
decide?
a suggested timeline every model provides, uh, which I will just give you a thumb rule, but it modifies by model. The first and second level can be done immediately after the training program. The third level is ideally done in about 3 to 4 months of the training program. The fourth level is done in between 6 to 9 months of the training program. And the ultimate level is generally done beyond 12 months of the training program. So this is, but every model have their own suggestion of when it should ideally be measured. What I'm telling you is more thumb rule, and it cannot be decided by anyone else. There are certain rules of measurement on this. If you decide to do something on your own, well, it may not give the best outcomes. Yeah. Say, for example, if you have done the training and after 1 week you are trying to decide whether the sales have increased or the ROI is generated, it is not the right way of doing it. Yeah, so every model will also guide you when is the best time, and it will need a little more elaborative explanation for which we may not have the time today, unfortunately. But I hope that you got overall understanding on what is first assess, then first ensure and then assess mean, and what is this model. Yeah. All right. Any other question from anyone before I move to my next part? We have another 15 minutes with us, so we can make a good use of that time. We can be effective.
So, Prachi mentioned how to measure these levels. This question.
Okay, Prachi, that's a great question. There are methods of measurement which needs a working exercise. It needs a much longer time. We may not have time today, but happy to connect with you sometime offline, or we can have a program on this separately, which how to measure. Now, this is about what is measured. How to measure, there is different techniques and needs more time for explanation. Yeah. But that's a great question. You should have this question going in your mind and figure out a way to get this answer. Okay, so that's a good suggestion. Suggestion noted. We will see if that is possible depending on schedule of everyone around. Thank you. All right. So friends, now we move on to a very interesting topic. Many a times we talk a lot about measurement of effectiveness of a training program, but we don't know what to do after that. Let's say, suppose you have done a training program and you have evaluated. There are two possibilities. Training program was effective, thumbs up, or it was not effective, thumbs down. What to do now? What if it is effective? And what if it is not? Any thoughts? So let's start with what if it is effective?
Try and sustain the effectiveness.
Try and sustain the effectiveness. That's a good beginning. What else?
Identify the areas that helped us see what has made it effective. We
Okay.
probably
Help us see what's made it effective. And what if it is not?
We have to go for it.
We have to go for again training need analysis. What is the
Very good.
reason? The
Yeah.
subjects we have to add in the training.
That's a good thought, Dhaneshwar. Thanks for sharing that. We have to go back to training need analysis possibly. Prachi is saying if it is effective, then it will bring positive growth. If it is not, then have to do the training again. Okay, that's another thought. Yes.
We have to correct our context and content.
Very good. Who said it? I missed the voice.
My name is Radha.
Hi, Radha. Thanks for sharing. I think it's a great point that you have made. A brilliant one. Thanks for sharing.
We have to take feedback from trainees and organizations.
Very good. We have to take feedback from trainees and organization. Can I tell you something? This slide is wrong. You know what is wrong in this slide? It is very difficult to classify any training program binary. Yes or no. Right? Because let us look at through one example. Let's look at this example. A retail company implemented customer service training. Regular feedback surveys revealed that while employees excelled in handling routine queries, they struggled with handling dissatisfied customers. So what will you say? This training is effective or it's not effective?
The customer service training, regular
Yes.
feedback survey revealed while employees excelled in handling routine queries. Might be the content of the training
Is the training effective or not?
should be done.
It is partially effective.
Absolutely. And that is true for most of the interventions. There will be some parts which are effective. There are certain parts which are not effective. May not be 50-50, but, there will always be shades of gray.
In handling
you know
routine queries.
and not only at the overall training level, even at an individual level. If there are 20 participants in a training program, there will be few participants who would have excelled in certain things and struggled on the other, whereas there could be some another set of participants who did vice versa. They excelled on the things that others struggled and struggled on the things other excelled, you know because we are dealing with complex human beings. Now, what to do? And coming back to the same question, sorry, coming back to the same question, what if it is a yes and what if it is a no? And that is where most of the organization come and struggle. Most of the trainers struggle because we are very good at making a judgment, whether it is effective or not. We are also good at making a balanced judgment sometimes. Well, these are the areas we think it has worked well. These are the areas maybe it has not worked well. What to do next? Any thoughts? What to do next? You measured the effectiveness. What to do with that effectiveness measurement?
So
Maybe
again,
we should do some trainings more, I mean, like refreshment trainings or something.
Very good. Very good. I think that is most successful approach. The aim well, reinforce. Why do we have to reinforce? Reinforce and make it permanent. Things that are working well, moving in the positive direction, make it permanent, make it solid. Make the change positive and permanent. If things are not doing well, then what to do? Yes, Usha?
yeah, so what I was saying is taking your example, let's say 25 people were trained, although 80% I think would have gone into a good customer service, and making the company grow in that. But the difficult situation where dissatisfied customers, they were not able to do, here comes in the next step that, you start measuring or, identify, listen to their calls and see who are those set of people who need help on dissatisfied customers. Like even out of 25, 5 are able to do, we need to then build a context and regular content to that context of handling dissatisfied customers, and impart the training to the set, and then go and see whether it is effective or not.
Okay, well, this is a real example that I'm sharing with you. Let me tell you what the organization did.
Not
A series of interventions where they kept reinforcing what has gone well, which means the routine queries, they were seeing an improvement, they were able to handle effectively, so they strengthened it. At the same time, they kept using different methods of training to handle difficult customers. So they went deeper into handling difficult conversations with the client, which is handling irritated customers, handling tough queries, handling different kind of customers. Go deeper with a series of intervention because there is something which is important saying when it comes to training effectiveness. If something is not effective, it is not effective yet. It does not mean that it will never be effective. It is just that we have not been able to create that impact yet. over a period of time with the repeated trainings. Now, the two options in front of a client: reset, go back to where we were, start from zero, or keep building on and keep moving forward till the time impact is visible. Yeah? Because what is visible to the world is success. What is not visible to the world is effectiveness. Because effectiveness are more capability driven, which is very difficult to see. Success are more easy to see. So till the time it becomes visible, till the time it becomes visible, it creates a much better impact, and you have to continue that journey. And before I take your questions, we will make good use of the last 5 minutes. Let me wrap up what I have to share with you. The key lies in developing a right training plan, because that sets the platform for the effectiveness of any training, and not start after the training program is over. No matter if you are a trainer or an HR professional or even a participant, you need to start much before at the planning stage. And that's the reason many organizations involve even the participants in the plan, involve participants in creating the content. Many a times involve participants even in deciding the trainer. So in many areas, organization use both, all the three stakeholders are important, which is the trainer, participant, and HR or the business unit for who is going to get impacted. So all stakeholders are important, which also combinedly put together the right climate, and that is where the right effectiveness actually comes. On that note, I will stop and I will hand it over to you for your questions, comments, or suggestion, so that we can use the last 5 minutes taking your questions and answering if you have any questions or even suggestions.
So, Rahul, I have a question. Although I am a trainer, I worked with different organizations. But what I've seen is, as you said, that effectiveness is something which takes time. It's a longer run process. But most of the time, the departments do not give you that time to, give or an employee to come up the curve. They immediately want, especially in customer service, they immediately want results. And sometimes it becomes very difficult and challenging to advise or come up to with the business leaders that refresher trainings, regular interventions is required. It's not that you do a training today, even 15 days new hire training happens and OJT happens for 2 weeks, and then they expect everybody to be 100%.
Yeah, got
I've
your point.
faced that
Yeah,
challenge.
no, I think it's a very common challenge and many trainers face it. Again, it will need a slightly longer explanation. When we conduct a 4-day session on corporate trainer facilitator, we have kept almost 1.5 hours discussing this particular topic. How do you handle the clients when they are expecting instant results? You know, how, because to me, I will just give a one-line answer. We need to educate them properly, saying that it is a training evaluation. It is not 2-minute Maggie noodles that, and I tell them, see, it is not a mathematical equation. 9 women put together cannot give a birth to a child in 1 month. So it's not mathematics. It is training. It's a process. If it will take that much time, it will take that much time. Either, and there's a right, and we cannot offend people, because eventually they are right on their part, we are right on our part. We need to educate them, explain them, and bring them onto a same page. All right. Any other questions or comments from anyone?
Sir, is it necessary that every training program's effectiveness has to be measured? Or is it just the success?
Well, depends. I prefer to measure it. The level of measurement can vary. It's a good interest of a continuous development for everyone. And I think everyone should get measured. The trainer, the process, even the participant, because it gives a lot of, because you see, it's a journey. It's a continuous improvement journey. If you don't measure, how will you improve? Now, the level of measurement you can decide. Say, suppose you're doing it for motivation of people, or you're doing it for engagement of people, you're doing it for the team bonding of people, then you can keep the measurement level low. You may not
Okay.
go to the ROI level of measurement, but if in case you are measuring, you know, lower cost, lower complaints, higher customers, higher sales, higher hiring, very, very output driven training programs, then it is only fair to evaluate and measure it.
Okay. Now, just in case, sir, in case of educational certificates or anything that we are providing, right? So,
Yes.
do we measure the success based on the number of students who are enrolling, or is it how do we measure the effectiveness in such cases?
Well, I think it's a great question. It depends on the role the person is doing in there. Okay.
Okay.
So, for example, if I'm a salesperson, I will be evaluated on how many customers I am enrolled. If I am a trainer, I will be measured on, what is the score participants are scoring, which is an indication whether they have properly learned or not. If I am a customer success team or a customer service team, I will be measured on, which is a classic KPI measurement, that how many complaints are coming, are we able to reduce the complaint over a period of time, so on and so forth. How satisfied my participants are, likewise. So depending on what training is I am doing and for what objective I am doing, the measurements will change, both width of measurement and depth of measurement.
Okay. Okay. All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, India. Thanks for asking that question.
Sir, I have a question. Often after the training session, when we are trying to give these measurement surveys to the participants, they are in quite a hurry to leave, or it's the end of the day, or maybe it's like that.
Yeah.
So, with your vast experience, can you give us some practical tips as to how to engage the participants, to tell them what is in it for them also, because they also need to know that they would also get a look at the effectiveness and how well they have participated. So if you could throw some light on those aspects.
I think it starts from what is in it for me. Okay. Because whenever we do any feedback survey after the training program, there is nothing in it for participants, to be honest. It is only for the interest of HR and the trainers. And in most of the cases, it is more from documentation than really genuinely trying to figure out the improvement areas. It is more of a feel good sometimes. But if we are genuinely wanting the feedback, what I follow it, I don't do it towards the end. I do generally slightly earlier.
Okay.
Maybe before the wrap up or before my last comments, or say if it is a 2-day program or a 3-day program, even a 1-day program, do it 20-30 minutes before that, so that you have enough time and give them time to participate, and also make it easy for them. Do it digitally, less writing, and at the end of it, if everyone has not filled it, I don't stress on it. Because you got what you wanted, right? You basically want a flavor of what people are saying rather than what person is saying, because who is saying is not important, what they're saying is more important.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so it is 8 o'clock. Aparna, any thoughts or comments from your side?
So, sir, the last question from Prachi, like she mentioned, can freshers can attend the corporate training session for 4 days if they want to pursue the career in L&D?
Well, Prachi, I would say yes. Although this program is designed for people who want to become corporate trainer and facilitator, but there are a lot of participants we get and who they get great value from this program if they want to make their career in L&D. In fact, we have some success stories of our participants who did this program and now are in L&D in various organizations. They are trainers in some organization. They are handling L&D function for certain organization. And there are a lot of people who have attended this program as they were doing their L&D functions or HR function. So we have all possible combination. We have also some people who have change of heart after doing this program. They wanted to go to L&D, but eventually became trainers. So they're all kind of participants we have examples of, and happy to connect with you offline and give you these examples. But to give your answer in one line, answer is a definite yes. Uh, Although you may find initially some modules are not directly relevant to you, but you can, most of the program you will enjoy and is useful for.
So what is the assessment for these certificate courses? Is it the MCQs or how is it
Yes,
going to
all the
work?
assessments are MCQ. In some program, there are MCQs as well as certain assignments that you have to submit.
Okay, thanks.
And these assignments are very useful. You may initially think, oh my God, I have to do it. But later on, you will realize that these assignments are actually helping you move forward.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidya. Any other question from anyone?
I just want to thank you, Mr. Rahul, right?
Yes, Suraj, my name is
Yeah,
Rahul.
actually, I joined very late because I got stuck in office. So I joined late, but whatever I've attended, it was really good. And even the question answer, even though I even try to grab something like what is basically training and effectiveness, as we talk about the measurement of effectiveness and what is the importance of it and why we need it. So I just want to highlight that really it is important because being an into HR, if I'm into HR, okay. So if we are arranging some training, we are giving something to our employee, even to us also. So we should gain something out of it. That is very important. What we are learning. It's not just a time pass or it's like 1 day or 2 day picnic and sort of. Okay, enjoyment is separate, but learning is separate.
Yes.
That's what I feel it is very important actually. So it's good. I so even though I will join the training course in some time with the next batch, I'm already planning to join. So thank you so much for your session. Yeah.
Thank you, Suraj. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that although late, but you were able to join and get the right value from this. Thanks
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
joining in.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
So if I could just talk on this now, since I think I spoke to you in the morning also regarding, I would want to take up the course as an
Yes.
integrated course with coaching as well as, the facilitator program.
Yes. Yes.
The thing is, I think since we were also talking about the training effectiveness, I would really, I was even talking to Janvi, who was helping me with this entire, process. Probably it would be more helpful to people like us who would take up these courses if you could help us in getting a few clients or anything of that sort. Maybe that is some sort of a measure, again, measurement of effectiveness of a training program or a certificate program, rather than maybe I just taking a certificate from a university or any institution. Maybe can the effectiveness be also measured in terms of, uh, you know, getting clients or you leading us to some reputed companies, because in the market there is already Dr. Aparna Sethi and Rahul Sethi, so I don't think we'll get anything above them. Everybody would want to hear from you too. So
Well,
how do we
I don't think so. That is true. And I don't think so. We are anywhere close to number one also, but neither we are competing for that. And neither the training world works like that.
okay,
Vindhya. It is a very fulfilling as well as a responsible job that we are doing.
absolutely, yes,
So, you are from academics, Dr.
yeah,
Aparna.
yeah,
I spent many years in academics. As an academician also, you don't worry about whether you are getting the Prime Minister award as a professor or not.
absolutely, yeah,
When you're in the classroom, your only objective is what can I do in next 45-minute or 1 hour session that is of value to my learners, right?
absolutely,
And our world is no different, right? And uh, we have responsibility, but at the same time your question is absolutely valid. I don't think so if you want to be a trainer you will find any difficulty in getting clients, because it is something like that. When I go and then that is what you're enrolling into a training program. Suppose if I'm training people on sales, I cannot
Okay.
say that, okay, fine, from tomorrow I will start selling for you. No, no, no.
No,
That is,
yeah.
then I'm not doing a good job as a trainer. My my evaluation of a trainer is, and my evaluation of this program between me and Dr. Parna is, after doing this training program, are you able to get clients in spite of us or because of us? If you are getting clients because of us, then
It's not the right training.
then I'm saying that my effectiveness is poor. But if you are
Okay.
getting clients in spite of us, then I think we are very effective. And that is when we are striving for the later than the prior.
Okay. Okay. Right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So I think it is almost 10 past 8. Utkarsh, over to you. And first of all, let me thank all the participants for joining in. I thoroughly enjoyed your participation. And please, if you have any questions with respect to any of our programs, we run various certification programs in the area of HR generalist, HR analytics, corporate trainer and facilitator certification, um, POSH train the trainer certification, emotional intelligence. We have a very specialized program on POSH train the trainer as well as emotional intelligence trainer and coach. Then we have certain coaching certification and integrated certification of trainer and coaches. If you have any questions on any of the program, please feel free to reach out to any of our career advisor. And please do not forget to log in for our future webinars. We keep doing these webinars as a value addition to all of you. And also it gives us opportunity to interact with you. Thank you very much for joining in. And on that note, I hand it back to Utkarsh.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time.
Yeah.
Really informative.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining this wonderful
Thank you.
session. Thank you, Rahul sir, Aparna ma'am for joining in. I hope everyone enjoyed the session a lot. Thank you so much.
Very
Have a
informative
Yes.
session.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great evening
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you very much. Say thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. See you next time.